Pope Francis did, in a way, make Catholicism cool again, with this whole new personality that a generation or two of Catholics had never seen before. Right? If you were a Catholic and used to the latter years of John Paul, and certainly all the years of Benedict, having someone who was kind of hip, who sort of knew what was going on in the world, who could talk about social media, was interesting. He did that kind of thing often, where he was not afraid to sit and meet anybody, meet them where they are, and speak to them on their own terms. He didn't pretend like he knew any better than they did. He didn't pretend that they were dumb and he was smarter. He was just having a great conversation with people. Francis was the first pope from the global south, from Latin America. Most popes come from Europe, a lot of them from Italy. John Paul was from Poland. Benedict was from Germany. In selecting Pope Francis, I think the church said, we understand that that's where the church is growing. It's not growing in Europe anymore. It's not really growing in North America. It's growing in the global south, Latin America, Africa, Southern Asia. And it was an important move for them to say that. It was almost like they were admitting that's where their church is going to thrive. Pope Francis was all about reaching out to people, and he was all about wanting the church to listen to the people. He realized, I think, that Catholics had gone through a lot in the past 25 years or so with the papal abuse scandals, with the priest abuse scandals. And he understood that Catholics need to be reassured that the church was on their side, that the church got them, that the church understood their lives, that they understood what it was like to be LGBTQ, to go through a divorce, to suffer in silence because you were poor, to be sick. And he reached out to those people and said, I get you. Very early in his papacy, in 2013, he was asked a question about gay Catholics and whether they had a place in the church. And his answer was, who am I to judge? If someone is sincere about their faith, if someone is looking to our faith and is looking to God for comfort and solace, who am I to say to that person, you don't belong? Pope Benedict especially was a professor. He was a theologian. He was a German. He was an academic. He wasn't a people person. He liked the sort of trappings of the Vatican and of the papacy. Not Pope Francis. Again, from Latin America, eye on the poor, talking about inequality, all of those sorts of issues. And he was like everyone's favorite pastor, everyone's favorite parish priest, or their favorite high school teacher. Very, very approachable. This was a pope that made the cover of Rolling Stone in his first year in the papacy. So it was a breath of fresh air for a lot of people who'd gotten used to not just Benedict, but even John Paul in the last few years of his very long papacy, when he was very sick and very infirm and really was not able to keep in touch with people. I think Pope Francis being a Jesuit is an important factor in his papacy. The Jesuits in Latin America are very progressive. They're very much working for the poor and against the authoritarian regimes you find in Latin America. They live themselves relatively humble lives, and he brought that sensibility to the papacy, that sense of being with the poor, working for the poor, and against what you would call typical authority. The people I know who've met him say sort of what you see is what you get. He's very, very down to earth. The National Catholic Reporter has a Vatican correspondent, of course, who travels with the Pope, as others do, on all of his travels. And he knows everyone in the press corps by their first name. He knows what their kids are up to. He knows what their significant other is doing and asks about all of that. He cares about them and their lives. And so he's just that kind of guy. He really, really connects with people. I think his overall legacy will be making the church just more welcoming, more open. He brought that sensibility to the papacy. He wanted to meet people where they were. So he was very, very open, very welcoming. He tried to create a better atmosphere for LGBTQ Catholics in the church. He tried to do something for divorced Catholics to make them feel more welcome in the church. He tried to elevate women and give them larger roles in the church as well. So he just wanted the church to be welcoming to everybody and be a less judgmental place.